Okay, so now we're going to write equations in slope-intercept form. This is on page 90 in your journal. So the first thing we're going to remember is that we want to remember slope-intercept form. So we know that this is the slope, or this is the slope, this is our y, or our f of x. Okay, this is our slope. This is our variable, our input. Okay, this is our output. And this is our y-intercept. So if they give me this information, all I have to do to write the equation is plug it in. There's my slope, there's my y-intercept, and I'm good to go. So for this one, same thing. We just plug in the slope, plug in the y-intercept. Okay, so in each of these examples, they want you to write an equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So remember, we're going to keep in mind y equals mx plus b. So my y-intercept here is 0. So I'm going to go y equals, I'm going to put a blank for my slope, and I'm going to put a blank for my y-intercept. And that's 0. So now I'm going to calculate, since I have two dots, I'm going to calculate the slope. And we've looked how to do this before, so we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Over 1, 2, so it's 4 over 2, and it's positive, so it's 2. So my equation is y equals 2x. Okay, over here, again, you can make the blanks if you want. Y equals blank, x plus blank. My y-intercept is 1. I'm going to find my slope. My slope is up 2 over 2, and it's positive. So it's 2 over 2 equals 1. So I would write it like y equals x plus 1. Okay? Over here, first thing I notice is I've got a negative slope, so I'm going to write y equals negative something, x plus blank. I look at my y-intercept, and it tells me it's 5. A lot of times people will look at this 4 and think it's the number, but if they give you a point, stop and look. But 4 is actually this line here, so be very careful, okay, that you don't make that mistake. So my y-intercept is 5, and I'm going to do my triangle to get my slope, and it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, oh, okay, so we got to be careful here. It's by 2's. So notice that your units are by 2's here. They tried to trick us. So we're going up 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So it's 9, and then it's 1, 2, 3. So you have to be really careful. So it's 9 over 3, which is 3, but I already got my negative, so my equation is y equals negative 3x plus 5. Okay, so be careful. Again, this one's positive, so I'm going to put y equals blank x plus a blank. My y-intercept this time is negative 2, and my slope, I'm just going to calculate it from here and here. Again, we're back to 1 unit per square, so be careful. Watch out for that. I have a rise of 1 and a run of 2. So my slope is 1/2. So you can check these out. And here are the answers. And you can see how we did. Okay, all right. So write this equation in slope-intercept form, then graph the line. So the first thing I can do, I can see I have to graph this, and I have to write it in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to subtract the 3x from both sides. I get 2y equals negative 3x plus 6. And I'm going to divide every term by 2. And I get y equals negative 3/2 x plus 3. So I'm going to go to 1, 2, 3. There's my y-intercept. And I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and over 1, 2. And that gives me, remember, you go down with a negative, and that gives me my line. Now I wanted to show you, when you're looking at that graph, remember you have other tools. I could have used my intercepts. So if I had covered up the x and said 2 times what equals 6, I would have gotten a y-intercept of 3. And then when I covered up the y, I would have gotten 3 times what equals 6, and it would be 2. And if you look at that, There's my y-intercept of 3, and there's my x-intercept of 2. So remember, you have other tools that you can use to check your graph. And in this case, if these are factors of the 6, you can do that. Okay? All right. Oh, and there's the graph. How pretty. I did a pretty good job. There you go. Okay, so given one point and the slope, write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form. So the first way we're going to do it is by finding the y-intercept. So we're going to plug in everything that we know. We have a y, so here's our xy, and we're going to plug in the y. We're going to write the slope. We're going to write our x, and we're going to solve for b. So 4 equals 6 plus b, subtract 6, and we get negative 2 equals b. Now you're not done there. You have to go back and write the equation. So my equation is y equals my slope times x plus negative 2, or just minus 2. Okay? So it could be written either way. Okay? Now the second way, we've already learned about point slope. There's the formula. So we're going to go y minus our first y, which is 4, equals the slope times x minus the xy, which is 3. So we're going to go y minus 4 equals 2x minus 6. I'm going to add 4 to both sides, and I get y equals 2x minus 2. And I got the same equation. So it doesn't matter which way you choose to do it, it will work. And we're going to learn more about point slope in the next unit. So we're going to stick to the first method from now on in this unit. Okay, so we're going to find an equation of a line that passes through these points. The problem is we don't have the slope yet, so we're going to have to use the slope formula. So I'm going to go negative 7 minus 1 over 0 minus 2. That's negative 8 over negative 2 equals 4. So now I have my slope. I can pick either point. I'm just going to pick the first point. So I'm going to go y is 1 equals my slope times my x plus b. 1 equals 8 plus b. b equals negative 7. So my equation is y equals 4x minus 7. And that's my equation. Okay? All right, the next one. Negative 1 minus negative 5 over negative 4 minus 0. We're going to zip-zap that. We get negative 1 plus 5 is 4 over negative 4 is negative 1. That's my slope. Okay? Don't forget what you're finding here. So now I'm going to plug the, I'm going to pick this point now. So I'm going to go, my y is negative 5 equals my slope times 0 plus b, and that just means negative 5 equals b. Okay, does everybody see that? Now we're going to plug that into our equation. We're going to go y equals, my slope is negative 1, so I can just put negative x minus 5, and we're good to go. Okay, over here I'm going to do negative 5 minus 3 over 2 minus 0. That's negative 8 over 2 equals negative 4. So I'm going to plug that into the slope-intercept form. I'm going to go, I'm going to pick, let's use this point. So I'm going to go, my y is negative 5, my slope is negative 4, my x is 2, and I'm going to go plus b because that's what I'm trying to find. Negative 5 equals negative 8 plus b. So I'm going to add 8 to both sides. Oops, add 8. So that means 3 equals my b. Now put your equation together. Y equals negative 4x plus b. This is my equation. Okay? And there are your answers. Okay. All right, so we're going to do this problem. We have to think of an equation, put together the equation in these terms. So it says that the closet organizer charges a $100 initial consultation fee. That is going to be my starting cost, okay? My total cost is the y that I'm trying to find out. Here's my per, and here's my x. So it's $30 per job, okay, per hour. So x is my hours, and it says write a function that represents the cost as a function of the number of hours. So if you wanted to, you could have put this, if you wanted to write it in function form, but either one is okay. Okay, so now you're going to ask, hold on, what is the y-intercept? The y-intercept is 100. Okay, we saw that right here. And what does it represent in the context of the problem? It represents that initial consultation fee. Okay, and here's the equation that they gave right underneath mine. So they used h as hours, totally acceptable. Okay, so a caterer charges a $200 fee plus an $18 per person served. Okay, so the cost as a function of the number of guests is shown in the graph. We're not going to show the graph. I want you to find the equation first. So this is your per person. So x is the number of people you have. This is the slope, and this is your initial fee. So put it all together, and there's your equation. So the first thing they're going to ask is find the cost for 200 guests. Well, since guests are the m, we're going to go y equals 18 times 200 plus 200, and that would be 3,600 plus 200 equals $3,800. And then it asks, how many guests can you have if you have $400? So that is giving you the total money. So we're going to say 400 equals 18m plus 200. We're going to subtract 200 from each side. So subtract 200 from each side equals 18m. And then we're going to divide by 18. And we get x equals 11.11, which means you can only have 11 guests. And here's the graph that goes with that. Okay? There you go. So if we look at the graph, if we have $400, go down here, right there, and it's a little bit, it's around 11. Okay? And if you had the 200 guests, that's off the chart, so we can't check that answer on the graph. That's why we want an equation, because we can't always use the graph to check. Okay, so this problem is in your journal, and I just wanted to explain to you what they're saying here. They are giving you 2 points. Remember, this is your x, and this is your answer. So the point is 0, 16. And this point is 2, 8. So if I'm going to find the equation, I'm going to go 8 minus 16 over 2 minus 0 equals negative 8 over 2 equals negative 4. I'm going to use my slope, that's my slope, and my 1 point. So I'm going to say y is 16 equals negative 4 times 0 plus b. And again, 16 equals b. So my equation is y equals negative 4x plus 16. So that's the equation that I was left with. Okay, now I have an electrician that charges an initial fee of $50. So that's my b. But then it gives me this weird problem, this weird part that I have to kind of decipher. So for 4 hours of work, he charged me $190. So I have to say 190 minus the initial fee equals 140, and then I have to divide that by the 4 hours of work to get my hourly fee. And so the hourly fee is $35. So now I can come up with my equation. I thought that was a really curious thing. So my C of x equals 35 per hour. So you can write, you want to make sure that this matches this, okay? Plus 50. So that is how much he charges, $35 an hour. It took me a while to figure that out because I had to remember that that 190 included this. And so I had to subtract that first before I could divide by the 4 to get the answer. Okay? And Okay? And I took out this problem. So this was the one that we answered. Okay? Alrighty. And that's